White pawn moves to e4. Black pawn moves to d5. White pawn captures d5. Black queen captures d5. White knight moves to c3. Black queen moves to e5 delivering checkmate. White bishop moves to e2. Black knight moves to a6. White pawn moves to d4. Black queen moves to f5. White bishop captures a6. Black pawn captures a6. White knight moves to f3. Black queen moves to e6 delivering checkmate. White bishop moves to e3. Black bishop moves to b7. White knight moves to g5. Black queen moves to c4. White queen moves to h5. Black bishop captures g2. White queen captures f7 delivering checkmate. Black queen captures f7. White knight captures f7. Black king captures f7. White rook moves to g1. Black bishop moves to f3. White rook moves to g3. Black bishop moves to h5. White rook moves to h3. Black pawn moves to g6. White knight moves to e4. Black knight moves to f6. White knight moves to c5. Black pawn moves to e6. White knight captures a6. Black rook moves to c8. White bishop moves to f4. Black bishop moves to g4. White rook moves to g3. Black pawn moves to c6. White knight moves to b4. Black bishop captures b4 delivering checkmate. White pawn moves to c3. Black bishop moves to a5. White pawn moves to b4. Black bishop moves to c7. White bishop captures c7. Black rook captures c7. White rook moves to b1. Black pawn moves to e5. White pawn captures e5. Black rook moves to e8. White pawn moves to f4. Black rook moves to d7. White king moves to f2. Black rook moves to d2 delivering checkmate. White king moves to g1. Black rook captures a2. White pawn captures f6. Black king captures f6. White rook captures g4. Black king moves to f5. White rook moves to g2. Black rook captures g2 delivering checkmate. White king captures g2. Black rook moves to e2 delivering checkmate. White king moves to f3. Black rook moves to e4. White rook moves to a1. Black rook captures f4 delivering checkmate. White king moves to g3. Black rook moves to g4 delivering checkmate. White king moves to h3. Black pawn moves to h5. White rook captures a7. Black pawn moves to g5. White rook moves to f7 delivering checkmate. Black king moves to g6. White rook moves to f3. Black rook moves to f4. White rook captures f4. Black pawn captures f4. White king moves to g2. Black king moves to g5. White pawn moves to c4. Black pawn moves to h4. White pawn moves to b5. Black pawn captures b5. White pawn captures b5. Black king moves to g4. White pawn moves to b6. Black pawn moves to f3 delivering checkmate. White king moves to f2. Black king moves to f4. White pawn moves to b7. Black pawn moves to h3. White pawn moves to b8 delivering checkmate, promoting to queen. Black king moves to e4. White queen moves to b4 delivering checkmate. Black king moves to d5. White king captures f3. Black king moves to e5. White king moves to g3. Black king moves to f6. White queen moves to e4. Black king moves to g5. White queen moves to f3. Black king moves to h6. White queen moves to g4. Black king moves to h7. White queen moves to g5. Black king moves to h8. White king moves to f4. Black king moves to h7. White king moves to f5. Black king moves to h8. White king moves to f6. Black king moves to h7. White queen moves to g7 delivering checkmate.